So I just got home from watching The Amateur with Rami Malek, and I really enjoyed this movie. Rami Malek, I've heard on the internet or like on probably in the YouTube video that he's almost kind of alien-like, the way like his eyes are and the way his mannerisms are, right? The premise of the movie is basically he's this incredibly intelligent person that works for the CIA. He works in decryption. A situation happens where his wife is killed on a business trip and he wants to get kind of vengeance. And of course he's not trained to be on the field, but with his IQ he can go ahead and kind of science and math his way to getting the bad guys who killed his wife. Now I will talk about spoilers in this quick review. There's a lot of great actors in this movie who are just in it for like a cup of coffee, like Lawrence Fishburne, John Bernthal. I think his name is Michael Stuhlbarg. I forget like his first name. They're all great in the movie, even though they're in it for a cup of coffee. But John Bernthal is kind of like this like CIA guy who's on the field, and it's kind of this like stereotypical, you know, like he's like in deep and undercover and doing all this kind of stuff. And Rami Malek in the beginning of the movie, he seems to have kind of some hidden aspirations to want to do that. But then this event happens where his wife is killed, and then he's kind of, like I said, trying to science and figure out and use decryption and getting camcorder information and connecting the dots and, you know, using his intelligence and technology to figure out the people who actually killed his wife, or like the group of people that were involved in the killing of his wife. It seemed like some kind of like terrorist hostage kind of situation that happens in London. The wife is played by Rachel Brosnahan, who you would think that she was just in the beginning and then that's when she kind of gets killed. But then like he gets a lot of memories and flashbacks and she's like kind of sprinkled throughout the movie. What I really liked about this movie was this kind of character who's a fish out of water in like the CIA spy kind of field. And that was the gist of the movie. That was the majority of the movie, and I thought that was really well done. If I have any cons with the movie, are sometimes just like some slight little common sense gaps a little bit for me, which are answered later in the movie, but I don't think I was that satisfied with the way it was answered. Like a little two different story things. Like one part where the first of the people that he kills in London, like he's literally like in broad daylight with a gun and like running like a crazy person, and I'm thinking like, aren't the police after this guy at this point? You know, aren't they like looking for this guy? Because like, apparently he's like there and he's like in broad daylight with a gun in his hand. You know, it's answered a little bit later in the film where he kind of uses technology to takes like a 360 picture of his face and he starts to put it on different people around the world so that people can't easily locate him. But that's later on in the film. It's almost like close to the third act. And the other thing was, in the end, Lawrence Fishburne is the person who trains him. It gives him almost like a really brief, superficial kind of on the field training, like shooting guns and bombs and this and that. And he like finds Rami Malek in the very end of the film and he thanks him, and I just was confused at that part. I think I need to see the movie with subtitles because then I can really understand why he's thanking him. Because there's this one scene when Lawrence Fishburne, this is more in the middle of the movie, he's like chasing Rami Malek. Those scenes were I felt myself getting tense, and he goes up against this other CIA guy who's after him, and then the CIA guy shoots him, and then Lawrence Fishburne shoots that guy, and then Rami Malek kind of just like hovers over Lawrence Fishburne, maybe wanting to help him, but he made the right choice in kind of leaving there, right? And then you think that Lawrence Fishburne is on his way to die because he collapses and he's like holding his gut, and that's the last you see of him until the end of the film where he pops up and thanks Rami Malek. I think this is what I'm assuming happened, that Rami Malek maybe scrubbed him from being associated with the CIA guys who were the CIA heads who were commissioning Lawrence Fishburne to go after Rami Malek. And that was another great aspect of the movie. It's kind of like this internal struggle within the CIA with CIA directors or CIA heads, kind of like, I don't know if it was CIA, FBI, I could be wrong, but like one was kind of doing this underhanded kind of missions and black ops stuff, and the head of the CIA, like his boss, was like completely unaware of this stuff until she eventually found out, and that was a very good another aspect of the movie. It was a solid thriller. It was a solid like spy thriller, like with those little kind of common sense gaps, which are answered, but I just wasn't satisfied with the way they were answered. But this is an 8 for me. This is the second movie I've seen this year that I felt it was a movie, going to the movies worth seeing, because I've seen a bunch of movies this year, but this is the first review I've done kind of like this, where I've come home and I want to like do a review on it. I've seen like Novocaine and the underwater movie. It was based on a true story, Flight Risk. I've seen all these movies in the movies, and I just felt they were more streaming kind of movies. Where this movie, and I would say Captain America Brave New World, were movies, you know, you go to the movies to go see them. So I really enjoyed this, and The Amateur and Rami Malek, and I recommend it. Go check it out. And of course, I want to hear what you have to say. Please post your thoughts and comments down below.